good morning, good morning. Well, actually, it's not morning, and I am just bubbling with excitement, hence the little bit of a faux pas, because I am in conversation today with one of my most favorite sports persons in the country right now. By the way, my name is Shezi, Mirchi Shezi, and I'm a radio presenter from Hyderabad. And in conversation with me today is international tennis player and A6 athlete Rohan Bopanna. Hi, Rohan.
Hi, Shezi. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Really looking forward to having this chat today with you.
Absolutely. I am delighted to be able to see you and see you outside in the open and not locked up in a house like me right now.
Yeah, I mean, can't complain. I'm here, right here, as you can see, the tennis court in the background. That's my first love. So I'm really happy to be here. Our academy is very much on, and especially with this pandemic, we're all going through. Really happy that tennis as a sport has had a few tournaments, and it's nice to be part of it.
Wonderful. So, how has the pandemic treated you, Rohan? I really do want to know the lockdown part of it.
It has been fantastic because my wife and I were blessed with a baby girl last year in May. So, spending time at home, watching her grow, couldn't have asked for a better time, to be honest. And, we were in Coorg. My parents live in Coorg. So it was, we actually didn't plan it, to be honest. I mean, we went there for 3 or 4 days, and then the government announced the first lockdown. And it was definitely been better than being in an apartment in Bangalore. And with all the greenery around, it was fond memories. So it's been about 20, 25 years since I'd spent so much time at home. I completely went to town with my mom's food. So couldn't, it was really, really fantastic. I didn't even worry about my diet, whatever it may be. It was, I said, once everything gets better, we'll have enough time, we'll know what's happening, and then I can get on my regime again. So yeah, that was it, kind of.
So I'm going to ask the discipline part of the questions later in the interview, not now.
Okay, perfect.
No, but you mentioned that you've become a new papa. How go the sleepless nights, sir?
Actually, it's been really good because my wife read up on this wonderful thing called the sleep training.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and she followed it very thoroughly and maintained a strict routine with our daughter. And so by 7:30, touch wood, she's having a good night's sleep. Gives my wife and I some time to spend also, together, which has really been, good. So very, very thankful to her to have done that, especially when I was traveling on the tour. Not easy. The first couple of months I know was very difficult, but hats off to her to done that, which today we are reaping the benefits of.
Wonderful. People of the internet, Mr. Bopanna has just dropped a huge secret. You can harass him on social media and ask him about what he just shared right now in detail, and I'm sure he'll be happy to oblige. But that's
Yes, absolutely.
wonderful. Okay, so but you know what, Rohan? I'm guessing that right now it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. But I mean, when your little one was a newborn, I'm guessing there must have been feelings of apprehension, saying, "Oh my God, I'm responsible for this tiny life now." So, with all the training that you have, and all the discipline, and the physical and the mental agility tests you have done in life, did it prepare you for fatherhood, or were you just like, "Oh God, that's a curveball"?
I think nothing can whatever you hear from it, because when it's first hand, there is no, you can't have a physical experience like that. You can't go through it until you have had your own kid. So I think no matter who said what, it was completely new. We had to learn everything by the day, by the hour. And then I think that's the beauty of it. And the biggest part was, I think we were ready to take the next step and have a kid. And I felt that was something we needed to really be on page together at, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're not ready for it.
Absolutely.
So I think that really helped us, in helping her, grow and understand. The biggest thing I learned is that you need to have lots of patience. I mean, I am very, very stickler to time, but now everything is so much more, so much more. I can't write everything. It's like when I'm driving, I know, okay, I'll reach here in half an hour. But when the kid is around, There's a lot more things which you need to be happening. It's not just A to B, So yeah, so the patience level really increased a lot.
Fabulous, fabulous. But you know what? I'm chuckling and all that, but it's such an important truth bomb that you just dropped. Again, this is a quick shout out to everybody out there in the universe right now, listening and watching to this video. Having a child for the right reason is of paramount importance. Log kya kahenge, zamana kya kahega? It is time for me to have it. My father wants to leave his ancestral property behind to somebody. All rubbish reasons. Have a child when both partners are actively okay to want to do this. Thank you for highlighting that, Mr. Bopanna.
No, I mean, just I think comes straight away what I was seeing and what we were doing. So I think that's what came out. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's, now that you are on the court, actually physically present right now over there, I do have to ask you, in 2020, right now, the kind of facilities that we have available to us, the kind of, levels of services, the kind of international trainings that we get the best of coaches and everything. So if I look at a sports personality, in terms of physical conditioning, even mental conditioning is focused upon now. They're quite on top of the game, every single player. And I don't know if I'm right in this, but I've always believed that, for it to be a winning moment on the court, it really, what matters is that players, frame of mind at that point in time, and that decides whether you're going to lose or win, right? So do you think that is true? And if so, how, if at all, have you managed to develop a mindset like that on the court?
So fantastic question, Shazi. I think what really for me makes a difference, the minute you have the thought you're going to lose, 99% you are going to lose. So I keep telling players, when they step on the line, and in tennis, for example, if you think, okay, I'm going to serve a double fault, don't serve. Walk back, take a few seconds, take a breather, come back. Whether you're running a marathon, maybe the TCS World 10K marathon, which is going to be on. You're running a marathon. You prepare for it mentally first. The night before you sleep, you tell yourself what you're going to do. Make sure you have a lot of fluids. You need to prepare yourself before getting on the court. When you get on that, like for tennis court, for example, instincts takes over. Yeah. You can't really plan right there, I'm going to do this. Everything starts the night before, the week before, the months before, the years before. The preparation in your practice, in your everything starts there. It's like writing an exam. I can't just walk in there without being prepared. Right. And your instinct, if it's like you're used to a question and suddenly the same question is twisted in some other way, your instinct will take over to understand that question and answer that. So that's what happens. I think you need to have that right frame of mind, of course, and not worry about the outcome of the match or the result or whatever it may be.
Right. That's fabulous. And I mean, you are a seasoned player with so many matches and so many years of experience, and I'm guessing it took you years to develop that mindset. um do you remember some time back when you had just about started, and the nervousness and everything, and is there something that you do when you get onto the court and you say, okay, I'm shutting out the chatter? Because a lot of times there are a lot of people in the spectators who are just screeching and trying to bring your morale down, or doing kinds of crazy things. So over the years, have you figured out a technique actually to kind of focus?
So I actually use that in my advantage. I mean, I use the crowd sometimes. I use them sometimes. I communicate with them, because the more you are yourself, you're enjoying the atmosphere, you play your best tennis. The more they start affecting you, your tennis and everything has become secondary. You need to be enjoying whatever you do, and I trust me, no matter what the scenario is, where the scenario is. Of course, there are big moments, big matches, and big scenarios, and being nervous is a good thing. That means you are actually getting ready, getting prepared for something like that. And what helps me sometimes when we have those 90-second changeover time, I close my eyes, just take a few deep breaths, not really focus on too many things, just focus on simple things. Just I tell myself, okay, let's start the first couple of points in a positive way, trying to play it the way I want to do. because if I think of too many things, it's very difficult for your mind to process it. So it's slowly, step by step, and that has really worked for me.
Wonderful. In fact, Rohan, I'm so glad you brought up the concept of actually the importance of having fun, because the day and age we're in, I've seen a lot of tiger moms and a lot of tiger dads who are these tiny chuttuk cute little babies, and they're pushing them to coach, which is great because they think that you need to start off young. But what I also see is they take the fun element out of it, and tiny children are asked to suppress their emotions, suppress their instincts, and say, no, focus. You have to be better than, six of them over there, and forget about fun. That child is crying. I don't want to be on the court. I want to be out somewhere doing something else. Can you explain how important it is, especially in, in the case of young, impressionable minds, to have fun and then maybe think about competition?
So the biggest thing I tell the parents is that when they send some kid to the institution and they have decided, okay, the kid is going to go and train in this particular institution, they need to trust the coaches there. They cannot be interfering on top of what the coaches are saying, because the prime example what I give them is, have they ever gone to a classroom and told a teacher on what to teach? Sport gives them that advantage because they can actually be on court and watch how the kid is doing or what thing. So that doesn't give them the privilege to start coaching. So then what happens is, that's what here at the academy in Bangalore, what we have done is we are trying to cut the parents off, and we ask them to come once a week, if they want to really watch, because I feel every person has an expertise in their field. So let them help the kid, let them understand, make the kids understand what is good. And most of the parents, or sometimes the kid, when they say, I need to focus more, they don't know what the word focus really means. They just heard it to say focus. But how do you come to that term? That has to be taught, that has to be understood where and when it is necessary. And these are the most important steps of a child's growth. So that is something we really teach more than anything, before they get to the higher level.
Fabulous. I'm so grateful that you highlighted that point. In fact, now that you brought up your academy, can you tell us a little about it? Do you have a lot of little tiny ones over there training with you?
Actually, yeah, we do. We have tons of 7, 8, 9-year-olds really training. Actually, if you see, I'm just going to show you right here. I don't know if you can see, but this
Yeah,
kid
yeah.
right there, he's only 10. We have special nets, special colored balls for them, which are really different. We have older kids training at the other courts in the background. So there are different levels and programs for each kid. And the advantage now is that they have these progressive tennis balls, which has made it ideal to play for different age groups of children.
Oh, wow.
I wish I had that when I was a kid. It would be because it helps the technique. To give an example, the yellow tennis ball is 100% pressurized.
Okay.
Then there are 75% pressurized, 50%, 25%. They only do that because they don't want the ball to bounce over the kid's head.
Right.
So, I don't want to get too technical about it, but anyway, it is more keeping them a lot of drills which make it fun for them at that age. That is the most important. And then same time, they are learning, the sport also.
Learning to play, literally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So lovely. In fact, that was going to be my next question. That, let's face it, the mind is a monkey. And what is true in the case of an adult is doubly so in the case of a little one. So, how do and if I tell a child, you have to be disciplined, you have to be focused, that child will probably start yawning and will walk away. Even I would do that, and I'm not exactly a child. So, how do you introduce that element of discipline and focus without it sounding like it's discipline and focus, but in a fun way? Do you do anything special?
So we try to really, emphasize on maybe the time. Like, say the training starts at 3, we make sure they have to be there a few minutes earlier. If they're not there, they see the other kids having fun, and we tell them not that day they're not in, the program. So they're just sitting to watching. The other day, one of the coaches gave a great example. So the kid was late. I mean, he thought he was going to, play and everything. Sorry, one second. Yeah, so the kid was late. And then, so the coach asked him, do you like a blue color or brown color? So the kid thought about it, and the kid said blue. So he said, do you see those chairs? One is blue, one is brown. That is where you're going to be sitting the whole session. So in a way, we're trying to bring in the atmosphere with, and plus when the kids see their friends training, their everybody else training, the discipline automatically comes into play. And they keep telling the parents they have to be there 15 minutes ahead, they're 20 minutes ahead, because they know if they're late, nobody, whether it is me or any kid out there, they don't get to practice. So we, that brings in the discipline. That means, it's slowly, when you get on the court, because tennis is very, very specific. If you're 15 minutes late from your match, you're defaulted.
Right. Oh gosh.
So, so it's extremely strict. So we teach them at a young age to do that, and that really helps in their career overall, whether he becomes a tennis player or just in general as well.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm so glad that you brought up this whole conversation around children and everything. This is something I've heard from a lot of coaches out there, and you have to tell me if it's a rubbish thought or actually one that needs to be encouraged. I've seen a lot of parents, a lot of coaches tell parents that you have to start your child at a very, very young age. Only then can he have a career in sport. I mean, later on, agar bahut der ho gaya, then of course he can play, but it will not be competition. It will not be at a professional level. True or false?
I think it's very true in a way that you have to start them young, because I think they learn the best when they at that young. They pick up a lot of things when they're young. So what we do is, for example, if the kid is 8 years old, it's the age you are is the number of hours you play the sport in a week. So that is 8 hours a week. So the kid doesn't get burnt out by the time he's 12 or 13. So it's slowly channelizing, understanding, play 1 hour, 2 hours, and then, increase the levels of their tennis and their fitness mainly.
Wonderful. But I will be honest, I was expecting a totally different answer, because I thought that you started off late in life. So you're going to say,
I did, but because now with all the progression and the equipment and the advanced technology we have, it's great to start young.
Fair enough.
It's great because that has enhanced the sport in a many ways, and it was always there in US and Europe and everything, but glad we have that now in India.
Right.
But the only thing, it takes an effort for the coaches to really bring in these smaller size nets, the rackets, all the activities around the court to make it fun for the kids. So that's a lot more work. So that's why sometimes we really emphasize that those are the kids which really need the biggest structure.
Wonderful. And do you actually, I suppose it must help them develop a disciplined mindset right from the beginning. So later on in life, you're not getting in that lackadaisical chalta hai, whatever attitude.
Absolutely. I mean, you start them young, I think they really makes a big difference. And parents see that. Parents see that when they go home and everything. Yeah.
Fabulous. Now that we've spoken about the big age word, I want to know, do you think that age is just a number, specifically when it comes to physical fitness and conditioning?
I think it's very, very true. It is just truly a number. I mean, to be honest, in this pandemic, I started doing Iyengar yoga for about 4-5 months ago. And I have really seen tremendous what the yoga has done to my body, especially because my body is just completely broken down at the age of 40. Some days when I do wake up, I really feel that I can't even move. My knees all are, worn out so much of playing. But this yoga has actually really helped and changed the thought. Even till today, I felt that so much there was to learn.
Absolutely.
Which was great. And I really believe that it's age is just a number, and you just have to put your mind to it. And I think anything is possible. And you have to believe it in that thing first before for it to work.
Absolutely. In fact, this is what I want to know about your personal opinion. Do you think mental conditioning plays an important role in how your physical fitness is going to be?
Everything starts on the mind, Shazi. I think that is the number one goal. It's very important, I feel, right now, to have a psychologist. Just just to have somebody there, because sometimes, yes, you have your parents, you have your friends, but you need an outside perspective, just because the thoughts you have are different. But
Absolutely.
to the psychologist guides you in your thoughts, the way you function, and it really helps the mind. And I think the mind is the biggest strength in the body. So if we
Absolutely.
can channelize that, anything can be done. And I keep telling all the kids, I mean, that's very necessary. A lot of tennis players I know have their own psychologists, which has really helped. I mean, it doesn't mean that you go, everybody, a lot of kids say, I don't have any problems, why should I go to a psychologist? I said, no, they are professional people for the mind, the same way you do for for your sport in tennis, or you go to a trainer in the gym or whatever. For the mind also, there are professionals who channelize that. And it doesn't, you don't have to think that, okay, I'm fine, or I don't have something, that's when I need it. It is completely normal to to have that kind of training.
I am so eternally grateful to you for making that statement. In fact, I keep telling this to everybody. You have a tiny common cold and you rush to the doctor with pride saying, I took so many medicines and everything. But the minute any conversation happens around mental health, everybody, will start looking here and there and say, oh my God, is she mad or what? And we're in 2020 for crying out loud. I think we have enough and more research out there to prove that really there is a nexus and a very strong one between the mind and physical fitness.
But Chezi, I must tell you that I personally have learned so much more about it because my wife is a psychologist.
Right.
So the last 10 years, I've really learned tremendous about mental health, and how much it is, how much it is needed, what all is required. Indirectly, I probably get counseled at home, which
Lucky.
I think has helped me tremendously on court also. When I'm playing with different partners, sometimes she tells me, try and speak to them in this particular angle, this particular works for them, and it has. So so these, I really feel, has improved my game also.
Wonderful. That's fabulous stuff to hear, Rohan. In fact, so evidently and very clearly, you trust your wife as far as mental conditioning is concerned. My question next to you is there something that you trust to improve your performance on the courts?
No, no, absolutely. I mean, there are, I always have been somebody who goes up with an open mind. If somebody comes and tells me something on court, whether I'm playing wherever I am, I listen to it and
Hmm.
I find out what, can be a good thing for me. I keep asking questions. So this has helped me in my career a lot, asking to find out what can be done better. Whether it's me or whether today it's the academy, for sometimes I'm sitting with coaches, I ask them, I show them videos. I mean, they have a lot of downtime when you're traveling. Yes, you play for 2-3 hours. After that, you have a lot of downtime, and you have the best of best coaches, everybody there. So it's nice to just have a chat with them. In the tennis circuit, get a lot of information. So yeah, I truly believe that you have to keep working on yourself to constantly get better. I don't think there is the one day I wake up and say I know everything. This is the way it's going to be done. And
Absolutely.
I really feel that you learn from everyone out there.
And it's so important to constantly be learning, truly.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And the travel has, I think, really made a big difference. Travel is a truly a great education, for everyone. When they travel, you learn so much, so many wonderful people you meet, different cultures, so, and I keep encouraging a lot of the tennis kids to ask questions such a way which is not a yes and a no answer.
Hmm.
Find a way that, bring out, that brings out the character as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. But okay, now I want to ask like a personal question. But do you have any cute idiosyncratic moments on the court, or you're like, oh, lucky pair of shoes, only these I have to wear to win? Or do you? Is there something that you are constantly like, oh no, I have to wear this T-shirt and this pair of shoes? Anything like that at all on the court?
Probably it was back in the day when I started off. When I was playing a little bit of singles, there might have been, okay, this water bottle has to be, or this bag has to be particularly on this side only. But
Right.
when I'm playing a lot more doubles, and for the past 10-12 years, I just go with the flow. You can't really think, because the other person may happen to sit that side. You cannot tell him, okay, I want to sit here, I have this, I have that. So I think all that has gone out of the window, and it's not there anymore. And I just uh, just focus on my tennis and just keep that at it.
That's fabulous.
But there are plenty, so like you are asking, there are so many players, who have that. I mean, and I say, yes, if it works for you, go for it. I mean, there's nothing like, everybody is different, every individual is different. So yeah, why not?
And do you? Okay, it's a very vain question.
It's right here. There's a 9-year-old kid, very curious to know what we're doing. 10. Sorry. He said not 9, 10. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I think it's adorable. You can, in fact, have him join our conversation. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Kevin, you want to come join the conversation? You want to come answer a question? He's excited. He's coming.
Oh, he's coming. Fabulous. Fabulous.
Say good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine.
Introduce yourself.
Tavin?
Tavin,
Yeah.
very nice to meet you, Tavin. I'm Shezi from Hyderabad.
Okay.
Say hello.
Hello.
How are you? Okay, you want to ask RJ Sherji something? Ask her what interview you're doing, what is it about?
Actually, yeah, what is this call for?
I decided to sit and have a nice little chat with your coach and learn a little bit of something. Matlab, you're learning on the court, I'm learning off the court.
Okay.
Very nice meeting you, Tavin.
Okay, thank you.
It's bum.
Bye.
So cute.
Yes, Bum.
Oh, so cute. Must be so fun, no, to have kids hang around all day.
Yeah, no, it's I think the best. And incidentally, that's actually my nephew, by the way.
Oh,
That's why he was so comfortable. More so, he was openly ready to come. And otherwise, yeah, the other kids are still there, trying to find out.
so it runs in the family then, clearly.
No, yeah. I mean, well, I think some inspiration has definitely, passed on.
I mean, if Rohan Bopanna was my uncle, I would fully take advantage of it too. So I get where the kid's coming from. But you have a little one, and it's too early to ask this question, Rohan, but I will still ask it. Are you hoping somewhere in that little corner of your heart that she's going to grow up and follow in her daddy's footsteps?
Shazi, definitely some sport. I think sport teaches you tremendous discipline, great culture. I think it's also a healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely.
I mean, I see a lot of people who are just running today. There is all over the place, whether it's the TCS 10K marathon, which is I think the fun way to start off, enjoying how to run, and really doing. So many people are doing that. So I think it just keeps you going. So I would love to, have her, do some activity in terms of, the irrelevant, of whether picks up tennis or takes it professionally or not, but definitely, playing some sport for sure.
That's fabulous because yes, it does bring about a certain mental discipline and all of that. In fact, speaking of discipline, are you a very disciplined person off the court in your personal life, or it's only everything is just focused on the game and on the court, and at home you're just like, forget it, let's relax?
No, I think it's extremely disciplined. I think I've always followed that for a long time, and I really believe that the discipline has to come on and off the court. And I really feel whatever we need to do is always there after your career. Whatever you need to do, it's still there. It's not going anywhere. So so these are the things I really feel. Tennis as a sportsman is a very short-lived career. So to really focus on that, make sure you follow that, and people around you understand why you're doing that also,
Right.
and to
Right.
respect that. Most importantly, starting from your family itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And has it been a very, you have had actually, I already know the answer, I'm not going to ask you. You had tremendously supportive parents and an incredibly supportive partner as well, right? And that
I
really,
think, Jesse, the what really worked was what my mom and dad were always on the same page. So my
ah,
dad kept saying that that is the most important thing. Even my mom said it. It's like, it's even if the parents don't disagree, I'm sorry, if the parents disagree, don't disagree in front of your kid, is what she always told me.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, so you have one answer to them. So, so that I think truly, very thankful to that. Yeah, whatever they taught me, off the court, which has really helped me in a long, long way.
Fabulous. I don't have a human child, but I'm sure there are enough and more people watching this video who do. Please, that's absolute spot on advice. Take it. Okay, but Rohan, I didn't realize this conversation is just going on and on and on. I'm going to take very little more of your time. Okay.
Okay, Shazi, no worries at all. I'm having good fun chatting with you. Yeah.
So, as a sports person, you are taught the importance. In fact, you just mentioned about how there are days when you just wake up and, physically you're in so much pain that you don't want to move your body. And, that kind of brings to mind a very important aspect of physical fitness, which is overlooked, which is rest and recovery. Like if I'm working 6 days a week, at least one day I have to have downtime. So, do you think it's important both physically and mentally to take your time for rest and recovery?
2000%. I think it's when your mind is rested well, you perform better.
Right.
So you need to understand your body when it is tired and take that rest. Find out where it's required, what needs to be done. I've been traveling with a physio right now for many, many years. Currently, there's a physio from Bombay, Gaurang Shukla, who travels with me. And more than a coach, he's the one who makes a difference. Because to recover, to understand, sometimes your body's tired, sometimes, he's there to make sure I do the right things. After a long day, we get into an ice bath. Whether it is, getting a good massage, getting a good stretch, getting a cool down, whatever it may be. But when you're by yourself, no matter whatever level you are, it's tough. It's lonely. It's not easy to motivate yourself when you're there by yourself. Traveling. So it's nice to have somebody there, and when that person knows his role, what he's there for,
Right.
makes a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I remember one of the tennis players actually mentioning that when they had a coach and a physio and everything, they had a big team, and they said they are there for their respective roles. A physio suddenly can't be coaching you just because he's been traveling with you 4 years. He understands it doesn't mean he becomes your coach.
Correct.
He still is a physio. He follows that. The coach follows that. So these are the, I think, expertise you need to have as an athlete to, and we are having actually a training camp for 15 days here, in Bangalore.
Mhm.
And two of the physios who travel on the circuit with me, they are here in, at the training camp, only for the students to understand the value of why professionals help.
That's
And
wonderful.
so that I thought, it's a good experience for them also to know, what a sports physio actually is all about. It's not about just going there and doing some ultrasound or doing some stretches. What their expertise bring in as well.
Right. Absolutely. In fact, I'm thrilled because you said that, in the lockdown, you started doing a sport of yoga, and I fancy myself to be a bit of a yogini. So the minute you said it, my eyes lit up. I said, yes, lovely. But, a lot of people have this idea that yoga is all about stretching and everything, but it's really not only that. And it's a lot of conditioning of the mind again. Yeah. So, if they say yoga chitta vritti nirodha, then the clutter in the mind, comes down is when, you are evolving as a person. And I want to know, maybe through all the yogic practices that you're doing, or even over the years that you have acquired a lot of mental training, are there a few techniques that you resort to kind of really calm your mind and come back to the present? Is there anything in particular that you do?
So Shashi, the yoga I was doing, like exactly you said, it was, something to focus on the body, not just about, doing the asanas or anything. It was to find out my skeleton, uh, the entire skeleton part of, my back or whatever it may be, had to be changed a little bit the way, because I had a big hunch. So that was affecting a lot of things on my shoulder, the pain. So those things. And Iyengar yoga has used a lot of props, I mean, ropes, blocks, and everything. And I think that helped me, because I was also thinking. And the teachers there at this practice room, they said that I was so used to getting instructions, so I learned faster.
Absolutely.
I picked up on things faster, which and through the years, sometimes what happens, music helps. Music does help. It calms the mind a lot. Taking 15-20 minute naps in between your sessions really makes a difference. I always take a nap before, if it's any match post 12 o'clock, 12 in the afternoon. If I have something after my warm up, everything, I take like a 20-minute, 25-minute nap before my match, because it really rejuvenates you and you get in there and everything. So these, I think, are the few things, of course, apart from your breathing and your meditation in the morning, if you'd like to do. The older you get, the more you emphasize on stretching, cooling down, and everything, because it takes, luckily today I can have the luxury of affording to travel with a physio and a trainer, helps me with my stretches and everything. Sometimes, yeah, otherwise I'm lazy doing that. Yeah, but still, all these things, I think, add up in the long run. And to have that, okay, because we have the time, it just takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes sometimes. Yeah, just do it. Yes, if you love to get on social media on your phone, go ahead and do it, if that's what your thing is. But still give that 10-20 minutes or 1 hour time to focus on something which will improve your body, your mind, everything.
Fabulous, fabulous. Rohan, it's been so lovely interacting with you. It was more than I think, it was a little bit, it was very, very, not a little bit, quite informative for me as well. And I'm so, so grateful that you took the time out. Before you go, I just have to offer you a tiny bit of a compliment. I love that neon A6 t shirt you are wearing. It is fabulous.
Thank you so much. It brings out my color also when I wear these bright shirts, So, but yeah, I mean, Asics have some fabulous stuff. More importantly, the shoes.
Ah,
I think that is something, uh, without a doubt, for sportsmen, athletes, everything, I would always suggest, most I don't know how many coaches, how many students I've asked them to go and buy ASIC shoes, because it is really something of a really high quality product, and it's comfortable on the feet. At the end of the day, yeah, that's what makes a difference. And we spend hours and hours on our feet, so we definitely need something, good. I mean, it's like your body, you need good food, to process. So when you work out, you train, you do everything, you need, good clothes or footwear as well. And I think Asics there comes out truly doing their best.
fabulous. So basically, if I were to start a career in tennis or running, I have to check out A6 first.
100%, there is no doubt, no doubt on that, Shazi. Yeah.
This is an internal joke. You don't know me very well. The rejoinder should have been first you start running.
So with ASIC shoes, automatically you start running.
Fabulous. Convinced. Rohan, you've been so, so delightful. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much
much,
for
Shazi.
your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for having me. Take care. Bye.